Hello, thank you for joining me today and welcome to today's session on benefiting from Unity Solutions. My name's Roger Walkden and I'm a director on the Unity Solutions team. And over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to be talking to you about all of the different ways our team can support, assist and help you deliver your projects, games and applications as part of a professional services engagement. How you can access those services and tell you about some of the most useful and efficient ways we have found to deliver these. So let's have a look at the agenda and what we're going to cover today. So first, I will tell you exactly what Unity Solutions is as an organization inside Unity and what our goals are. I'll cover the areas we focus on for both our core gaming and our rapidly growing industrial and enterprise customers. And I'll touch on the processes we use to engage with you and how we have turned those into products that are services. And we will then take a deep dive into the way that we go about working with our customers. And we'll be hearing from our team from around the world who are out and about and have been doing some of that work with some of you guys over the many years. And at the end, there'll be a chance for you to ask any follow-up questions over text. So let's get started. So what is Unity Solutions? Well, we are a global team of trusted advisors in real-time 3D. Our team is always striving to be a trusted advisor to you, whether you are a person new to real-time 3D or have been using Unity for years. We are someone you can rely on to help overcome obstacles to development and adoption of real-time 3D technologies and really get the best out of Unity. In a minute, I'll talk to you about the levels of support and service packages we have created that you can access that take advantage of the work we've been doing with customers over those many years. And we know that cost and time are your most precious resources. So we've worked out the most effective methods of engaging with your teams for as little expense as possible of either resource. Unity Solutions is a global team of around 300 people at Unity. We're both based all over the world. We have people on the east and west coasts of the US and Canada, and also in the UK and Germany and mainland Europe. We have people in Asia as well, in Japan and Korea, Singapore, China, and we continue to recruit into new locations to ensure we've always got people as close as possible to our customers. The team is made up of a wide skill set. To name just a few, we obviously have Unity developers, we have back-end engineers and systems integrators, producers, designers and creatives, specialists in areas like UI and UX, concept artists and technical artists, QA and test, and to underpin everything that we do as a trusted advisor status, all our engagements have a primary contact on account and project management that stay with you before, during, and beyond the engagement. We quite literally have thousands of years of experience making real-time 3D applications, both in games and in enterprise applications. And we, of course, have very strong links with the Unity R&D teams. We can draw on the experts from specific areas from around Unity to help solve complex problems. And we often influence the roadmap with customer use cases and scenarios coming from people like you and the engagements that we work with your people like yourselves. And we work alongside the other support teams as well around Unity, and specifically with customer success to ensure that you have the right package of support, services, training, and other success management packages. And also with other products, some of which don't even require you to run Unity. Products like Multiplay, Vivox, Delta DNA, the AI and machine learning teams. We also work with the R&D features and feature teams for packages like Dots and Tiny. And we also have great contacts inside the industrial R&D teams who are making new products that are going on top of Unity, like Reflect. And lastly, we have deep domain and sector experience in all verticals that have a use case in real-time 3D. And this is probably most important. because it will be really difficult for you to find other companies on the planet with the depth and breadth of experience of teams that have tackled use cases and scenarios across all verticals: architecture, engineering, construction, automotive, transportation and manufacturing, retail, healthcare, education, film, media and television, entertainment, and of course, games. In short, we have a deep background in all things real-time 3D, all things Unity, and all things Unity technologies. No one understands the Unity engine like a Unity engineer, both now and its future roadmap. So, something about our vision and our mission. Our mission is to help you succeed in your mission. Obviously, you've probably heard this week already that we believe that the world is a better place with more creators in it. But we know that creators are also not supermen. They need assistance from time to time, and they need experts. And that is where we come in. We help get past those milestones, ship it on time, get that project started, or get it over the line, whilst also passing on the benefit of our knowledge and expertise to your teams. We do this to make sure that you don't create your own dependency on us as an external resource. We see firsthand what you guys are trying to do with Unity and to help you over those very hardest of bumps you might have in that road. We have seasoned veterans working in our teams who can provide you with their insights and industry knowledge through consulting services. And we can also help you engineer your projects, getting involved, writing code, either alongside your developers or instead of doing that yourselves. So, how do we engage with you as customers? Well, and how is it that you how is it that people choose to work with us? Well, we help customers adopt Unity and provide them with the expertise to create and optimize their real-time 3D experiences. So everything that we do pretty much always falls into one of these three buckets. And as a team, we touch hundreds of customer projects, games, and applications every year. Most of this work remains pretty much unseen and uncredited, and we have very few use cases that we can use to highlight our work because we consider ourselves to be part of the customer's extended team, as a partner, as a co-developer, or even as individual contributors. The process that we go through varies from vertical to vertical. On the enterprise and industrial customer, we have a very specific process, which takes the customer through a digital journey, a real-time 3D journey with us. And this is a process particularly effective for looking to adopt new real-time 3D technologies as part of your digital transformation story. The first thing that we do is on every project is to undertake a discovery and a listening. Our initial objective is to understand the way that you work and the core principles around the challenges you want to solve. We gain multiple perspectives, from key stakeholders to the end users, synthesizing the complex and obtaining clarity around motivation and objectives. And from there, the envisioning process is the practice of dynamic adaptive problem solving. We conduct on-site whiteboarding workshops that are designed to rapidly uncover and frame transformational opportunities. And we explore potential solution branches, identify the greatest ROI gains that each potential path could take, and start to determine the project's boundaries and potential. From those envisioning sessions, the team begins to define the project vision and create a high-level scope. User experience workflows, wireframes, storyboards are all created to conceptualize ideas as we hone in on that solution. And you can use those concepts to show around the company that what it is that you're trying to do and get buy-in from stakeholders. And by collaborating with your team and incorporating its feedback, we clarify the deliverables and specify the dimensions of the project. Once a clear action plan and delivery expectations have been set, we swiftly move forward and start crafting the product. Your dedicated team from us would be composed of designers, developers, and delivery staff working together as a unit focused on building remarkable, effective solutions that yield results. And once the product is built, we ensure it's ready to scale. Whether this is involving deployment to multiple locations or devices, we're equipped to bring it to market in a big way. And that's how we work with our industrial and enterprise customers. On games, we have a slightly different approach. The work that we kind of do is split into three main areas. We work on accelerators, which are short-term engagements intended to help you speed up implementation and development over as short a period as possible to minimize the amount of work that's required on your part and to keep the cost as low as possible. We also have consultancies, where we have seen projects in early stages that take massive leap forwards as a result of these consultancies. We talk to your engineers and your teams. We dig around and we profile inside the project. We identify performance optimization opportunities and stability issues. And we work out the goals that you want to achieve together. And we also report back on that so that you can take away those and implement some of those changes yourselves. For others in later stages, we just are all about just squeezing out that last 10% of performance needed to hit those technical targets. And then thirdly, we have development and co-development. And this is all about providing Unity engineers on large-scale projects with the right expertise to ensure that your systems and the work is done at the first time and at scale and efficiently as your project grows. And we can pretty much tailor this to everything that you need. So we have been delivering these for hundreds of engagements over many, many years. So for other customers, of course. And it's this experience that has helped us shape these into products that are basically services. So we know that there is nothing more important to you when you're working on a project than your time and your money. So we want to make sure that you select that right product. We spend quite a bit of time with you guys to get a strong understanding of what it is that you're trying to achieve and what the identified pain is that has caused you to inquire with us in the first place. This is a qualification and discovery phase. And this is important to get right before we even put you in contact with a technical expert, so that we're sourcing the right people with the right skills and expertise in a location which is as close to you as we can, or in your time zone. They're largely split into three areas, which is consulting, and we have five main products that we use for this: a code and assets performance review, a technical architecture consulting, an add-on project review, which is for customers who have already got their own success package which is normally ISS. We can add a second project review to that process, a technical art review, and a game audit. On the accelerator side, we get more specific into particular technologies or problems or products. The most popular ones that we have are ones around dots, where people are trying to learn more and understand how to use to move their dots project forward. The same with Reflect, where people are using Reflect and they're looking to gain more and to add features to Reflect and to integrate it into other workflows that they have. And optimization, which is very popular for performance and stability issues. And then thirdly, we have development or co-development. And these are two main services. The first one is a dedicated expert advisor, where we attach one expert, which can be an engineer or an artist or another function, to your teams to provide expert advice all the way through a project. Or it's completely custom. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how we put those together in a minute. And actually, we thought the best way to be able to tell you about these in a little bit more detail was for you guys to hear it directly from our teams, from our engineers and the people who are doing this work with you guys day in, day out. So I'm now going to hand it over to a series of people who have been doing this work with you. And I'm going to start with a good colleague, friend of mine called Sebastian Hein, who's based in Berlin. He's a senior engineer on our team. And he's going to tell you a little bit about the technical architecture consultancy. So over to you, Sebastian.
Hey Roger, and thanks for asking about the technical architecture consultancy. I believe that this is a great product to help customers create a picture of how they can realize their vision with the help of the Unity technology stack. So we usually sit together with the customer and discuss ideas and see how different Unity technologies can be used to solve problems for the customer. That does not even have to be gaming. So let me give you an example. We recently had an engagement with the Manufacturing Technology Center, MTC, a UK-based company, and they were looking for ways to streamline their internal processes. So this ranged from planning like objects in a CAD tool on a PC to building those objects, seeing how the pieces fit together, how everything is assembled, to visualizing and overlaying instructions and everything in one big pipeline. So that touched everything from machine learning, XR, physics simulation, down to running Unity as a service in some cloud environment. So in the end, we created some prototypes and documents to help them outline possible solutions in Unity. A different customer is working on a mobile app that is currently running on iOS and Android. And they wanted to reduce the amount of work that is needed to maintain both technology stacks and just focus on one. And so we sit together with them and discussed possible ways of translating their ideas and their currently working app to Unity without losing the native feel, and with the additional benefit of being able to put visual effects on top of everything and make use of the playfulness of Unity in their processes. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. And here's back to you, Roger.
Thank you, Sebastian. That's great. And so he's telling you really about the architecture challenges that we are tackling in those early stages of development. It's a deep dive into your project's requirements, its roadmap, its technical environment, and its scheduling. And we find that this is a very useful consultancy for the beginning of a project's process. Now we're going to move on to the code and assets performance review. And this is going to be delivered to you by Paul George, who is based in our Montreal office. Over to you, Paul.
Yeah, thanks, Roger. So the CAP, or Code, Assets, and Performance, is a product that we offer to Unity customers. Think of it as a general health check of a project, mostly in terms of workflow and performance. So things that we tend to look at in a CAP, other than any possible workflow issues, are issues with CPU performance, GPU performance, memory issues, load time issues, asset bundle usage, whatever is most important to the customer. So normally going into one of these, the customer has identified some pain points and some issues that have been occurring in the Unity project, and they want to figure out what can be done to solve these issues. So how we tend to go about it is to use a set of profiling tools that tend to, a lot of them are common across platforms and some differ and are more specialized. So we're going to go and retrieve a lot of data, a lot of profiling data, so that we can better identify action items to solve the issues that the customer is dealing with. I could give you an example. So in one engagement, the customer had identified that startup loading times on WebGL were an issue for them, and they were seeing that users were churning from their funnel quite quickly because of long startup times. So using a batch of tools, we collected a lot of data and identified a list of issues, and associated with these issues are several action items that can be resolved within the customer's project. Then afterwards, when all this data and all these action items have been collected, we write a report that's sent out to the customer that describes how these solutions can be put in place. And we try and make solutions be as specific as possible so they be as easy as possible to implement. So that's pretty much it for the CAP. Back to you, Roger.
Thank you, Paul. That's great. And as you can see, it's an analysis of our code and of your code and assets to uncover the root causes of performance issues, and then provide actionable reports that enable you to do something about it after our engineers have left. Great. And so let's move on to the technical art review. And the technical art review is going to be described to you by Raz Van Luter, who's based in San Francisco. Over to you, Raz.
Hey, Roger. Thank you for the introduction. I'm happy to be chatting with you today about the Technical Art Review, or TAR as we call it. The Technical Art Review is a 2-week customer engagement we primarily offer to our gaming customers, but it's not limited to them, in which one or sometimes more Unity technical artists from the professional services team does a deep dive into a project's content pipeline and runtime performance for the content. After those first initial 2 days that are spent either on site or over online virtual meetings, we spend the rest of the 2 weeks researching answers and writing an in-depth report of our findings. We usually look at what can be automated, what can be improved, and what can reduce iteration times while still producing the same content for the target platforms. Recently, I was part of a technical art review for Robin Games. As this was a more traditional and straightforward technical art review, we started our time with the team in trying to understand how their project worked and what their project goals were. This included elements like content scale, their staff, and the skills and strengths they had. Afterwards, we collaborated on the source art organization and discussed content creation techniques and opportunities for automating the content pipeline more. Finally, the latter part of our meetings, we analyzed the runtime performance of the project. While most of the technical reviews are structured around the generic agenda of specific bullet points that we want to cover, like the ones mentioned before, sometimes the team we want to work with has a very specific and focused agenda. A recent example of this case was working with a large enterprise mobile gaming studio in helping them define and scope a content creation and automation pipeline. In this case, the meetings were more about alignment and on how to deliver a plan that is scalable and takes advantage of the team's staff while best optimizing their time and their game. In both examples, we concluded each engagement by providing an extensive written report that included all of our findings and recommendations, as well as a summary of all the topics that naturally came up in our discussions in the meetings. I hope that sheds some light on what our technical artists do and what our technical art reviews look like. Back to you, Roger.
Fantastic. Thank you, Raz. And as you can tell, the technical art review is a very similar kind of format to the code and assets performance reviews and the technical architecture consultant. But of course, you're doing that with a technical artist. And what they're able to do is find ways to scale to full production by ensuring workflows are heavily automated, efficient, optimized for scale, and use best practices. And he's passing on those skills and knowledge to you as he's doing it. Awesome. So let's move on to the dedicated expert advisor. So this is often also called a dedicated engineer, but we call it an expert advisor because it doesn't have to be an engineer. You're now going to hear from Steve Canavan, who's based in our UK office, and he's going to tell you about how he works with your technical leadership and development teams on a regular basis. Over to you, Steve.
Thanks, Roger. So a dedicated expert advisor is when a software development consultant or a technical art consultant is embedded into a customer's team. We're there to go along and provide an external director role for them at all different stages of development. So at the beginning, we could be helping them set up their technical or their art direction, working on their pipelines and their processes. Further along development, we could be writing code, writing shaders, maybe optimizing models. We can be doing some research and development and any of the technical hurdles that they're experiencing. But essentially, we're there to help our customers' projects succeed and help guide them to that. For example, we've been working closely with Colossal Order recently, and to ensure that their game hits its memory targets, we've been looking into Unity's virtual texturing technology. We've managed to go along and set up a prototype, and we've been working closely with R&D. For other customers, we've gone along and helped them port their game to a new platform. That usually involves mostly optimizations, but it also can help them get through their platform requirements. So that's it. We're basically a mixture of experts and developers and directors to help our customers succeed. I hope that made sense. Back to you, Roger.
Thanks, that's great. And as you can tell, it's a specialist working alongside your team to provide technical architecture and guidance in best practices, as well as helping you to resolve some of those really difficult, challenging problems that you have in development. And we have these people that are sitting inside your teams embedded over many months. It's usually somewhere between 6 and 24 months that we do this. And it's completely scalable according to your needs and the size of your project or the length of your project. Fantastic. So now we're going to move on to the Optimization Accelerator, and over to Sarah Beck, who's based in Montreal.
Thanks, Roger. An Optimization Accelerator is a 4-day engagement that we do with the customer where we work with them in their project to take a look at their specific bottlenecks and their performance concerns. Usually folks come to us being like, hey, I want to get to 30 or 60 frames per second. How do we do that? So we start with analyzing things like GPU, CPU, memory, and prototype and implement fixes in order to help them meet their goals. So the team has done a few of these now in Canada and the US. We worked on things like looking at a project's specific rendering pipeline implementation and making sure that they're getting the most out of their artistic performance, but also their frame rate. We've done things like looked at a team's console readiness and helped them get their frame rate down on device. Recently, I looked at a project for an industrial customer where we profiled on device and looked at their specific CPU concerns so we could get them as close as possible to 60 frames per second in the week, but as well give them a head start so they could look fantastic for their next demo. So yeah, that's an Optimization Accelerator. Back to you, Roger.
Thank you, Sarah. So as you can tell, it's a shorter engagement. It's based with a Unity engineer who works with you to analyze your project to identify performance problems and test and suggest new improvements. So to custom development. So custom development is all about taking on full development projects for you. These are custom because, of course, everyone is different. And it obviously, therefore, needs to be scaled to the appropriate level of expertise. We can do this on our own. We can do this on your behalf if you don't have a team available to do the work, or we can do it in co-development with your teams and pass on that knowledge for longer term gains. And we can do it in a way that that moves the project from responsibility on our side over to yours. It's all about trying to hit your milestones and deliver your projects on time, or to be able to scale into projects which you don't have the ability to do yourself. Typically, the kind of briefs that we see in this area are, on the game side, are all around moving a project from a different engine into Unity in order to take advantage of all the features of Unity. Or it could be moving a project from one platform inside Unity to another. It could be a PlayStation 4 and Xbox game that you're trying to move onto Switch or onto mobile. Or it could be going the other way and moving a PC or a mobile game up into the new generation of PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, where some of the new challenges are coming in with the powerful machines that those have and new features. So I'm going to hand it over to Abina. Abina Para is based in San Francisco. He is a developer who works with both our games and industrial customers. So over to you, Abina.
Cool. Thank you, Roger. So yeah, custom development is an offering the professional services team provides that allows for bespoke solutions in and around the Unity platform. It really allows our customers to lean in and leverage the collective expertise of frankly, the entire Unity R&D organization. So let's say, for example, you're an industrial company or an automobile manufacturer, and you're looking for ways to revamp and re-envision how you bring your products to market. Or perhaps you've been using the same old antiquated technology stack, and you really want to reinvest in bringing your products and your company into the 21st century by utilizing real-time 3D. Or another common example, you're a game studio, and you're really wanting to tap into the latest and greatest technology in VR and AR. What we do is introduce things and products like Mars and its companion app, or even AI, to really revitalize the industry and bring fun and interactivity to your product. What we do is sit down with our customers and really get a deep, deep understanding of their project goals, their development timeline, their budgets, and ultimately what's going to bring success to their business. Although customer development is one of many offerings for professional services, it's one that really is tailor-made for your business. So with that, back to you, Roger.
Thank you. That was great. And finally, I'm going to hand over to Franco Spina, who's based in our Edinburgh office at Delta DNA. Over to you, Franco, to talk about the game audit.
Thanks, Roger. Yes, Game Audit is our complete game teardown project using design and data-driven game analysis, focusing on key aspects of game design such as retention, player engagement, and monetization to give developers, publishers, or even investors a clear understanding of their game's performance and potential for improvement, all along with actionable insights. And we've carried out such projects with many well-known studios such as Take-Two Interactive, Nickelodeon, and Microsoft Studios. Our game audit assessments are split into 3 key phases. The early game, covering key mechanics such as the first-time user experience and the core gameplay loop. And looking at the mid-game, covering areas such as progression, pacing, in-app purchases, and store structures. And finally, the late game, looking at areas such as live ops, elder game mechanics, and social competition. Now, we spend roughly 2 weeks on each gameplay phase, where we cover important areas such as benchmark KPIs, design benchmark scoring, detailed design feedback with implementation recommendations, including extremely valuable data insights from the Delta DNA analytics platform by Unity. And as we complete each section, we provide prioritized action lists to help with development roadmap planning. And we even follow up with a remote workshop to talk through our findings. And that's Game Audit in a nutshell. Thank you. Back to you, Roger.
That's great, Franco. Thank you very much indeed. And obviously, you've therefore heard that they are expert game designers and analysts that can examine your gameplay and their mechanics. It's using Unity's proprietary game data for benchmarking of your game and recommending improvements to key aspects of retention, monetization, and player experience. All right, so that is the end of looking at all of the different products that we supply. And near the end of the presentation. A couple of other words I just wanted to say. I just wanted to thank all of the engineers who've been on the call today to talk about the work that they do. It's always great to hear it from different voices. It's also worth mentioning that all of these guys are now currently working remotely and not in any offices during COVID times. We've managed to transition all of that work to work seamlessly from remote locations and respecting the health and safety provisions that you have for your employees as well as our own. And that will continue until a point where things start to settle down again. And of course, but we also do on-site work when that ceases. So it just remains for me to thank everybody for coming today. It might just be worth me just touching on what my role is in all of this. And I always describe my role as being someone who is representing our teams both internally to help our partners around Unity understand what we do, and then externally with customers like yourselves. It's only through proper alignment of our understanding of what it is that you're trying to do with what our expertise is that we can really truly make sure that you are successful. And it's my privilege and pleasure to represent those teams because they are a truly awesome group of individuals with diverse skills and expertise. And I truly hope that we're able to help you with the projects in the near future. And you may very well see me on a discovery call at some point and talking about how we can help you. And if you're interested in finding out more about what we do and to talk to us in person, then please talk to one of your representatives from Unity on the business development or account teams, and we'd be happy to answer any of your questions. Of course, we can also answer your questions today as well. If you drop a question into the text below the video, you will be able to get an answer to the questions that we are on there. And thank you very much for listening today. It's been a pleasure to talk to you, and enjoy the rest of Unite Now.